Hey, 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 hey! Hello everyone, it's me, Avengers Assemble! Meanwhile, Ant-Man and Thanos.
Forward in time to view alternate futures.
How many did you see?
14,605,000.
40,605.
How many did we win?
One.
Culmination of 21 movies, 10 years in the making, and this is what they come up with? It's brilliant!
Film theory.
Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The rear end game of YouTube. So, it's finally here. After a year of waiting, we're finally gonna find out how a team of superheroes defeats the strongest person in the universe. How they're able to topple a warrior so great that he controls all the elements of time, space, and reality.
Oh, me, I got plans. Why don't you chop off his head? Oh, well.
People are so excited to see the conclusion of this story that pre-sale tickets have been sold out for months. But you know what? Us online
He's a friend from work.
already know the real story. We know how this whole thing wraps up, and no, it's not because we watched the leaks on Twitter. While everyone else is like, oh, time travel, us intellectuals know the real answer, and it's da butt.
Everyone else, oh, time travel. Us intellectuals. The ball.
Although there's a lot of different variations to this theory on
Get it, the rear end.
line, they all come out something like this. Using Ant-Man's suit, Scott Lang will shrink himself down, crawl into Thanos' poop chute, and expand back to normal size, killing the Mad Titan once and for all by literally ripping Thanos a new one.
Ripping him a new one. Literally. Let's keep this family friendly and wholesome. Thank you so much. Let's go.
Surprisingly enough, this theory first appeared on Reddit back in 2017, before Avengers Infinity War was even released. In June 2018, YouTube entertainment outlet entertainment.ie actually sat down and asked Paul Rudd about the theory, to which he responded,
I almost think it's a question for Thanos. If there's one thing we learned from Infinity War is that Thanos could take a lot of punishment. It's an interesting tweet.
Look at how nervous he gets after this is brought up. You can tell that we're onto something.
It's a funny theory to have, but it's not going to come out
So
soon.
this was probably the first time that it was really brought to Marvel's attention, but soon afterward, they really started to get in on the joke. Thanos actor Josh Brolin got involved, posting a video of himself on a toilet to his Instagram account, along with the hashtag #FlushAnAntMan. Shortly thereafter, the killer of memes himself, PewDiePie, called me out on it.
Sorry, MatPat, I'm doing your job here and I don't mean to step on any toes. Again, we are not making any assumptions. This is just a theory.
You know what, Felix? You are absolutely right. We don't want to make any assumptions, which is why since the day you made that video, I have been researching this thing to get you, Felix, the most accurate, scientifically correct answer possible. Because if there's one thing I know the meme community appreciates,
Where is Gamora? Who is Gamora? Why is Gamora?
it is hard-hitting scientific research on the realism of an alien's butthole. So today, Thanos is gonna find a bug up his butt, but is that gonna be enough to kill him? Using my all-powerful Theorist stone, I can only see two possible outcomes here. One, Ant-Man could succeed and give Thanos the most explosive diarrhea of his life. Or two, Ant-Man's expansion is no match for Thanos' purple rectum and would actually be crushed himself when he tries to expand. It would be like the trash compactor scene from Star Wars, except in reverse. Interestingly enough, both of these outcomes do have precedent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the original Ant-Man film, Scott Lang runs through ant tunnels, as one does, before expanding to normal size and breaking through the ground. However, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man attempts to expand, but ultimately gets constrained by the walls of the room around him. The first example shows us that Ant-Man is expanding with enough force to break through the layers of the earth above him, but the second example shows us that it's not so much force that he can break through a wall. wall. Additionally, you'll notice that he expands as much as he can to fill that larger space, which can leave him in some pretty tight and very uncomfortable positions, though certainly not as uncomfortable as he will be soon enough.
Oh my gosh! Oh, welcome home? Homecoming, but far from home. No way home.
Universe demands it, Ant-Man. Oh, and just a quick insert here as we're finishing the edit on this episode. A video on this exact topic was just released yesterday by my friend Kyle Hill on his channel Because Science, and apparently he used some of the exact same examples that I did in that previous section. I'm just gonna leave a link to it in the description. It's actually a really fun analysis. Analysis? But before anyone goes claiming that one person is ripping off the other, we've actually been working on this particular episode since April 2nd, and we actually wound up using a different methodology than Kyle to solve this exact problem, which is actually a really cool coincidence, since if we both come to the same conclusion by the end of this episode, well, we just kind of verified each other's answers on this very fictional, very bizarre scenario. So anyway...
Very fictional and very bizarre scenario.
I just wanted to call that out before we got much deeper into this video. We all good. We good. Tyler, love you. Great minds think alike. Keep up the awesome work, man. By the way, since I'm talking to you right now, your Mortal Kombat series is phenomenal. Okay, so the key to this theory is understanding the relationship between stress and strain. And no, we're not talking about the emotions that I feel when I think about how many more scripts I have to write this week. No, in material physics, stress is defined as the internal pressure of an object, while strain is the amount that that material expands as a result of stress. So for every material, these two things start out in a linear relationship that's defined by Hooke's law. When one goes up, the other one goes up proportionally, which makes sense when you think about it. If you put
Hooke's law is awesome.
stress on any material, it stretches. When you let it go, it snaps back. This is called, fittingly enough, the elastic region. So in order to survive this back attack, Thanos better hope his region is pretty darn elastic. I'm sure Hook must be rolling over in his grave right now, knowing that his law is being used for something like this. The relationship between stress and strain is unique for every material, which also makes sense. You can push really hard on a piece of steel and it's barely gonna stretch, or you can push really hard on a piece of plastic and it's probably gonna stretch a lot more because plastic is just a lot more elastic. When you graph the relationship between stress and strain, they create what engineers called a stress-strain curve, because engineers, at least in this case, don't come up with fun titles for things. Taking a
The stress strains squiggly.
look at it, notice how this curve looks a little wonky. Like, it starts out straight and then it goes all bendy. Point A on this graph is where the material being tested no longer obeys Hooke's law. In real life, you would say that this is where the material starts to act a little funny and you start getting into territory where you could start doing some damage. Point B of our little graph is called the elastic limit of the object, and it's the point where if you push on the object anymore, you're gonna permanently deform it. Taking this hypothetical example straight up Thanos' rear end, this is the point where if you were pushing on his internal organs, like say his colon from the inside, it wouldn't exactly snap back. You'd start doing serious damage to tissues, maybe even his colon walls would start to deform permanently. But
Oh, permanent damage and tasks cannot snap back. Get it? Snap back?
we need to go way beyond that if Ant-Man is actually gonna leave a lasting impression on Thanos' digestive tract. So we need point D, the ultimate tensile strength point that represents the maximum amount of stress the object can receive, and then after this point, the material goes through a process called necking, which is a weird word to use when you're thinking about a purple alien's chubby cheeks. Necking is where the material continues to expand, but it stretches and gets really thin. And so translating this into our hypothetical Marvel scenario, this is where we'd have more and more of Thanos' anal tissue start to give way as Ant-Man's rapidly expanding suit explodes like a trip to the toilet after Chipotle. Finally, we get ourselves all the way to point E. This is the fracture point, the point where the object breaks. This is the point where there's no more cushion for the pushin', and Ant-Man breaks out. Let me just take this opportunity to remind you all that you asked for this theory. I wash my hands of this, mostly because that's what you're supposed to do after you get all up in someone's butt.
Yeah, and the scam sensors, please do remember to watch it. Thank you so much.
Great, now it's time to take Thanos' butt and plug in some numbers. Crazy enough, some scientists in the Journal of Biomechanics actually produced a stress-strain curve for the human rectum.
What? I mean, what? What are you using? How? What? When? Why? Which? Whom? Whose?
This is where all that important scientific grant money goes, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the curve they constructed, it's apparent that the fracture point has a stress of about 0.85 megapascals and an elongation of 60% the original size of the rectum before it bursts open. Now, while that may sound like a lot because it has mega in the name, it actually doesn't stack up all that well compared to other materials around us. As a point of reference, rubber has a fracture point of 16 megapascals, whereas a human rectum is less than 1. So at first blush, it doesn't look like it should be that hard to make this theory work. And that's good because realistically, Ant-Man needs to blow this level of pressure away. I mean, it's one thing to break through the colon wall, but unless Ant-Man has taken down Thanos in one big explosion, this guy literally has the power of the universe in his hands and would easily be able to repair his own rectum if he got the chance.
Or maybe, I mean, maybe with the reality stones, with the stones involved, he has 6 stones by the way, maybe, I don't know, turn his instances into vibranium material. Yeah.
Using any number of stones in the gauntlet. Reality stone, boom! My colon is now made of steel.
See?
Space stone, boom! I've created a portal in my butt to avoid Ant-Man injuring my bum. Power stone, boom! I summon the world's greatest fart and blast Ant-Man into the quantum realm. You get the idea? So Ant-Man gets one shot. Let's see if this theory holds up or if it's just a crock-a-doo-doo. There is no obvious method to calculate the expanding force of Ant-Man, but I chose to use momentum. As a general rule of thumb, if a situation involves contact between two bodies, well then, you should probably use momentum to solve it. And this theory involves plenty of contact between two bodies. Momentum is equal to mass of an object multiplied by velocity. Ant-Man's mass is never specified by the MCU, so I just used the weight of Paul Rudd in real life, which is 171 pounds or 77.56 kilograms. Using frame-by-frame measurements, you're able to determine that Ant-Man grows 97.43 centimeters in 0.22 seconds, which produces an average velocity of 4.428 meters per second and a momentum of 343.5 Newton seconds. That number doesn't mean a whole lot, so let's keep going. Since the collision of the two objects, Ant-Man's body and Thanos' will be over the span of 0.22 seconds, we can calculate the average force using the impulse equation, force equals momentum divided by time. This gives us an average force of 1,561 newtons, or about half the maximum force that Olympic caliber weightlifters can achieve. After converting that force to a pressure, which equals 3,181 pascals, we can finally calculate the tensile strength and then compare it with the ultimate tensile strength that we found earlier. If we assume that colons are basically cylinders, which is a pretty reasonable assumption, we can use this handy-dandy equation. The tensile strength...
But you must recognize that is for human Earthlings. We are talking about Thanos, the Mad Titan. The Mad Titan have similar as us.
exerted on the walls of the intestine is equal to the internal pressure multiplied by the ratio of the cylinder's radius to the thickness of the walls. According to a study by the National Institute of Health, the ratio here would be 25. Plugging in all those numbers, the final tensile stress of Ant-Man expanding in the colon is 79,525 pascals. This is certainly a significant amount of stress, but it comes nowhere close to the required 850,000 pascals that we determined earlier. Looking back at that stress-strain curve for the human rectum, this amount of pressure would cause Thanos' intestines to expand by 60%, which is impressive, but nowhere close to the 280% that we need to break it. Ant-Man would barely get to be more than a moderately sized poo in there. Not to be too graphic, but also, you knew what you were getting yourself into when you clicked on this video. In fact, not only does Ant-Man not put a dent in Thanos' butt, literally or figuratively, it's actually safe to assume that this maneuver would completely backfire. Ultimately, this would kill Ant-Man. Consider this. Stephen W. Cranford, an engineering professor at Northeastern University, actually calculated the strength of Thanos and concluded how much stronger he would be than a normal human being. Yes, a real-life college professor at a respected university actually spent time thinking through this and then wrote it up and published a paper. Wonder if he's looking for a new job.
Okay. The more you know, I guess, the more you know.
Can't offer him tenure or anything, but I can't offer him more time to look at stupid stuff like this. The paper, titled Compressive Failure of a Carbon Nanotesseract, Sci-Fi Inspired Materials and the Strength of Thanos, found that Thanos has the grip strength of 750,000 times a typical person. Given the unbelievable difference in muscle strength in Thanos, it's pretty safe to assume that his rectal muscles are gonna be a lot stronger too. He might also have himself a souped up intestinal tract, and if the smooth muscles of his colon reflect even a portion of his increased strength, Ant-Man is gonna find himself in some serious trouble. Not only is Ant-Man failing to expand beyond the human body's colon strength, it also means that he's failing to expand beyond the tensile strength of Thanos' body as a whole. That mega strength colon of Thanos would actually end up crushing Scott Lang. Remember the trash compactor example I mentioned at the beginning of the episode? Well, if Ant-Man can't stop his expansion, and Thanos' colon is stronger than Ant-Man's expansion forces are, it's not the colon that's getting damaged here, it's Ant-Man himself. That's right, Ant-Man would literally be crushed from every angle of his body by Thanos' super-powered bowels. The man killed half the universe with a snap, and one more for good measure with the sphincter. Either that or like half of Ant-Man's body will squirt out his old poop chute with his head still up the... You know what, never mind. Personally, I'm just sad to see this theory go. In fact, I'm crushed, but then again, so is Ant-Man.
Oh, wow. That escalated quickly.
Crushed within Thanos' beefy buttocks. And that's why this is just a theory. A film
Let me in!
theory. And now that we've kicked this meme in the, well, you know, there's one thing left that we gotta kick. Paying too much for online purchases. And for that, you don't need the help of a superhero, you need the help of a super sponsor. And that super sponsor's name is Honey. Sure, the Avengers may or may not be able to take down Thanos in Endgame, but Honey will sure take down the prices that you're paying for pretty much everything you buy online. And you know what? We've talked about Honey a lot on both Film Theory and Game Theory. We appreciate Honey's sponsorship of these episodes, but we also appreciate the amazing service that it provides, and you guys also seem to appreciate them too. From the time we started getting sponsored by Honey, you guys have sent us tweets and messages about really saving money with every online purchase that you're making thanks to Honey. And that's pretty awesome because most times when people are talking about online services, they're just talking about them to complain. But people like @Cassidy's_YouTube tweeted at me to say, thanks to you, I saved $68.30 on my holiday shopping, which kept me under budget so I can get more gifts. Thank you. You know what, Cassidy? You're welcome. And thank you for supporting Honey. Like I say every time they sponsor us, they deliver a quality product that's helping you save money by doing absolutely nothing. All you do is make your purchase and boom, look at all this money that you're saving. Great, just click the box. But you know what? Even if you're not shopping for huge gifts, it helps when you're just treating yourself. One person who rated the app on Google Play said, I originally found this extension because it was a paid sponsor of Game Theory on YouTube, and honestly, it's my favorite extension out there. I save money on more than just big orders, but stuff like when I order pizza online. It's so convenient, any person who shops online regularly must have this. This isn't coming from me, it's coming from people who listen to my advice during these little promo spots and are now saving money with every purchase they make online. Money that they would just be throwing away if it wasn't for their use of Honey. It's true, it's great, it's completely free, and it's just 2 clicks to install. And from that point forward, it automatically finds every discount code, coupon, deal, and insider savings pass on the internet. And I get what your hesitation might be, right? It seems too good to be true. It seems too easy. How can something save me free money without me having to pay for it? Where's the catch here? Well, it's actually really simple. Whenever you use a coupon code provided by Honey, they earn a small commission from the merchant that you're buying from, and then they pass along some of those savings back to their members. So really, it's a win-win-win for everyone. You win because you save money on something that you wanted to buy, the merchant wins because they sold the product that they were looking to sell, and Honey wins because they're helping you save money, they're helping the merchant sell their product, and they're getting a little cut on the side. It's great. There is literally no reason not to install it. Link is in the top line of the description, or heck, you can type into the URL bar joinhoney.com/filmtheorists. FILMTHEORISTS, which is really long. Just click the link in the top line of the description. And from there, like I said, just 2 clicks away. It is that easy. So go join the 10 million people who are already saving money on all their purchases across 20,000 sites. Everything from Amazon to Pizza Hut and Sephora to Best Buy. You guys have told me that it saved you money on everything from new laptops to cosplay supplies to shoes to Switches. So get out there, treat yourself, and you know what? Don't spend so much while you're doing it. Link is in that top line of the description. It's joinhoney.com/filmtheorists. Get going, friends, and then get going to see Avengers Endgame, because you know there's gonna be some theories coming out of that one. Along with Ant-Man coming out Thanos' butt. Had to do it one last time before the episode ended.
But hey! Oh my gosh, but hey. Wow. Wow. The more you guys, I guess. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video together with me. I hope that you find this video very interesting and unique to watch together with me. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have any share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement for my work. Thank you all so much. It's very motivating and uplifting, very encouraging with all your positivity and wholesomeness involved. Thank you all so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye! Thank you so much. Once again, it's subscribe!